Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for Detour number 6, and this is Ironcast. Now, Ironcast was released in March 2015 by Riftstone, and it was developed by Dreadbit, and it is an RPG strategy game with a matching game at its core, and as you can see, it has a steampunk aesthetic, and it was actually kickstarted, I believe, and I quite like this game. So I'm going to show you some bits and pieces from when I've played this. So the first thing to do is starting a new game, and this is a roguelite game. And you can see me flailing around a bit there, but this is pre-recorded footage. And you perform missions, and at the end you fight a boss, and whether you win or lose, you will end the game and you will start a new one, pick a new character and a new Ironcast. And each character has a different ability, as does the Ironcast. The character ability is passive, and the Ironcast ability is an activated ability, at least as far as I've seen. And each Ironcast also has a different starting loadout and a few different stats and varying health, of course. And there are a number of different weapons. The two overarching types are energy and projectile, and the character I picked has an affinity for energy weapons. Has a 10% damage increase to all energy weapons, which is nice to have. There's another character that has a similar thing for projectile weapons. And here you can see the workshop, which is your staging area. Can't really do anything there when you've got a newly started game. See, there is the boss, which will approach the center of the map as the game progresses, and in 9 days, basically 9 missions, you need to deal with that. But until then, you build strength by performing lesser missions. And there are varying types of missions. Generally, they revolve around fighting either an Ironcast or a tank. And the main difference there is that the Ironcasts are generally a bit tougher, and they have shields. Tanks do not have shields. They have a permanent damage. What do you call it? They have a damage reduction of a percentage, usually 25%, I think. There are some missions, though, that have different objectives. Some that are defensive, where you're supposed to survive a certain number of turns, and some that have you disable a specific module in the or system in the target, and so on. Now, some of the enemy mechs you see here are actually from DLC, which I don't have, but you can play as them if you get this DLC, but you can still, as you can see, face them as enemies if you do not have it, as I found out recently. And there are 4 different resources: ammo, the purple ones; energy, the orange ones; coolant, the blue ones; and repair, the green ones. And then there are a few special tokens, like the gray linking token you can see there at the second row from the top. There's also a scrap token in there, the yellow one, which just gives you bonus scrap and experience. And scrap, by the way, is the currency of this game. It's basically money. Now, as you can see, the matching game is in the center of the combat screen, and it is how you gain resources as well as do certain other things with the special nodes. Certain missions have new tokens appearing in the grid, like crates, and sometimes other things happen. Certain abilities can also affect the grid. And the way the game works is that you spend energy to either increase your drive or your shields. The drive gives an evasion bonus. At the beginning, with the starting drive you usually have, you get 5% for the first step, 10 for the second, and 15 for the next. There you can see me, I start matching nodes, and you do that not by moving them, but by drawing lines between identical nodes. And a challenge, of course, is matching as many as possible, finding a pattern that will connect as many as possible. And you can see you can go diagonally. And one thing you have to pay attention to is that each mech has a maximum storage capacity for each resource. I believe the Dunwick, which I'm wait, maybe that's not what I'm playing at as right now. I forget the name, but as you can see, it has 9 maximum energy. And if I match more than 9 nodes, I won't get the overflow, but I will still get the experience, which is important. And you can see that the gray node I have there is a linking node, and what that does is it allows you to connect two different types of nodes if you go through the linking node. I don't choose to do that right now, but you can see that I got a bunch of energy, and I can put them into the shields or the drives. I have 3 moves, as indicated by the number I just pointed at, and so you can draw 3 lines basically, and the lines drawn through a linking node still only counts as 1. And here you can see me putting some power into my drives. I get a 5% evasion, and my mech starts moving. The shields give a static damage reduction. So the first level, for example, with the current shield I have is 12. So any incoming shots, each incoming shot will be reduced by 12. And if there's nothing left, it won't do any damage. If there's anything less left, that will be applied to me. And at the start of your turn, 1 point is removed from the drives and shields, so you need to keep spending energy to keep them going. And there I raise my shields, and I get a 12 shield strength. And it varies, of course, depending on your shields. You can get more powerful ones as the game progresses. After each mission, you have a chance to get blueprints that you can use to construct better equipment for scrap. You very rarely get modules that you can use directly, but that does happen. So here we are a bit into the same mission, and I target the drive of the enemy, and then I spend some time comparing some values. You can see that the light cannon does 20 to 22 damage per shot, and it fires 5 shots. The energy lance only fires 1 shot, but does a lot more damage. So I fire that, and it penetrates their shield and hits their drives, does about 50% damage to it. I have more ammo, so I can fire again, and I almost take out their drive. Now you have to bring a system down to 0 to actually disable it. Partial damage doesn't do anything to a system. Collect some nodes, and matches can take a few hours, or not matches, a game can take a few hours. depending on how successful you are, of course, and how fast you are at actually playing the game. It can vary, but a few hours, a couple to 3 hours perhaps, I would say. And you can, of course, the game does allow you to exit out of a game and then continue it later, so you don't have to play in one sitting. And now it's my turn again, and I want to get some ammo so I can fire again. Now, coolant is important. So ammo and energy are used for weapons and drives and shields, respectively. But coolant is used for both of these, and it is actually quite an important resource because it's not strictly required. But if you fire a weapon or activate a system without having the required amount of coolant, your Ironcast is going to overheat, and it is going to deal some damage to your hull and all systems. And this is a very tactical point. It's a tactical decision you have to make if you want to activate, say, your weapon and take a little damage for a chance to win, or to take a chance that could win you a game. Or you could lose because you end up taking too much damage and blow yourself up, or you become too weak and the next enemy shot destroys you. Here is a mission where I end up making some poor decisions about my coolant management, and unfortunately I also get pretty bad luck with the grid and the amount of coolant tokens I've been able to chain up. And in the end I succumb to overheating. You can see that I'll get a few coolant tokens, and I'm hoping to be able to take out the enemy with a few lucky shots. You can see that I am quite close to being able to do so, and if I had focused on taking out their shield, I might have been successful. But I am just not able to do enough damage. And right there, you could see that I failed. Of course, a game such as this is ripe with RNG and luck of the draw. When it comes to tokens, sometimes you just don't get the grid as you would have liked. And you don't get the tokens you want or need, which is unfortunate, but it adds to the feeling of success when you actually do get that combination that you were that you needed. Here is a different kind of mission where, as you can see in the objectives up in the top left there, we are supposed to collect crates of tea. And we have a certain amount of turns to do so. And you can see that there are special tokens on the grid that look like crates. And the objective was to collect a certain amount of those while surviving the onslaught of the enemy. And defeating an enemy in one of these missions will result in them being replaced by a new one. So you cannot win by fighting. Here we see a different type of mission that is actually entirely dialogue based, and this is a rather simple example. And you can see here there's a bunch of dialogue, and we get money in exchange for manpower, and I have quite a lot of it. So I offer the highest amount because I want this to succeed, because I want the money, but you have to make a choice because the manpower actually helps you during the final battle. It makes it easier the more manpower you have. So now we are back in the workshop. We can have a look at some of the blueprints that I have gotten as rewards from missions. And as you can see, you need scrap to make these. You can't use them directly. Here you have the modules that I've made already, and those are things that I can equip. These right here are permanent upgrades that you can buy for a large amount of scrap, and you can increase your capacity for the different resources as well as your base health. I don't really have anything else I want to show from this game except what we are watching right now, and that is a mission. I picked a hard mission, and it ended up being very tough, and I won it by the grit of my teeth. And it's going to be the sign-off for this video. But I really like this game. It is a nice little game. It's very unique, at least as far as I know. And it has a great steampunk theme, at least if you're into that sort of thing. Alternate timelines and all that jazz. And yeah, like I said, it has some DLC which will add some more Ironcast and characters that go along with them. I cannot attest to the quality of that DLC because I do not own it, not yet at least. But I would recommend this game if you're interested in this sort of a thing. It's very challenging. It has some, it's one of those games where you will sometimes tear your hair out because you aren't getting what you need to actually win. But that's how it's meant to be played. Sometimes you just lose, and even if you are killed and lose a game, you will still add to your global unlock progress any experience that you've earned. And of course, the longer you survive, the better, but you don't actually have to beat the boss to get something out of it, which is nice. And you may unlock new abilities, new passive augmentations, and even new characters, or Ironcast if you have any more to unlock, of course. So yeah, we're just going to watch this fight play out. I actually have a special cannon that I got from a mission, or I got a blueprint, I think, for a rare cannon, a light cannon, which doesn't happen very often, at least not while I've been playing. Maybe I've just been unlucky when it comes to that, and I missed a green token there that I could have gotten, which was a shame. I saw it just as I released the button. I remember from when I was playing here. And you can see here I suddenly get hammered and lose half my health, and I get my drives disabled, and there are very few repair nodes to be seen, Uh, and I don't have very much ammo. I managed to scrounge up 4 of them. At least I've taken out their drives, which means that they are going to be a sitting duck. Very low risk of missing. And I decide to target one of their weapons in the hopes of disabling it. There's the rare light cannon. You can see that the name was green. And I begin to get ahead again. I have more health than my enemy, at least. And then I am suddenly losing again. I need some coolant as well. If I don't get some coolant, I'm going to be in trouble. Fortunately, I get some nodes there. Should be enough. Unfortunately, both my drives and shields are now disabled, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose right here. There goes the shock coils, and now I have 17 health left in my cannon, light cannon, and then I get some ammo and some energy, which I didn't really need, and I got an overdrive, and I'm slightly ahead as far as health goes, and I take the final shot. And if I hadn't gotten those 3 ammo tokens there, I would probably have lost. And that is Ironcast. And if you like what you've seen, you should definitely give it a shot.